and this is I think more people are starting to talk about this, but when we were in we had a really hard time, my husband and I, when we were trying to survive during this period. Many reasons, right? It was like very stressful and financially stressful, and sick kids and brand new babies and jobs and COVID, all of that in and of itself would have been stressful. His main experience in mold was brain fog. And so he just couldn't remember what I had asked him to do, what he was going to do, what he had said he was going to do, right? And
Mm,
so these two are a really bad mix. So financially, we were like, God, if just imagine trying to have like two households, now we're like splitting time and all this stuff. So we're just coexisting in this house in this horrible time. Um, and so when we found that this could be what was causing so much of our stress,
mhm.
we couldn't agree on dinner at this time, but my husband just looked at me and he was like, "You know what? If it's possible that we can save this, that we can help her and we can save this family, why the hell not? Like what else, what do we have to lose?"
Right.
Because we were just in such a horrible place. And we just had this moment of clarity and we're like, this is it. This is our last chance, you know? And so we did, like, we just went all in on it. That was it. We threw, and this part of the story I don't recommend because this was like we were in a panic and we didn't know any better at the time, to do any research or to know to do any different. But we had such a low risk tolerance that we just threw away everything. Like 90% of everything we owned, just threw it in the trash without thought. The only thing I had a hard time with was my kids' toys. Because I was like,
Mhm,
I don't care about the purses, I don't care about the shoes, I don't care about the clothes. I need enough clothes to get to work. And that's it.
mhm.
Everything else, I don't care. But like I sat in the middle of all their toys, looking at each one, going like, are they gonna remember this? Like they hadn't played with this one in a long time, but you know how kids do when they don't play with something a long time, you get rid of it, suddenly they're
Mhm.
looking for it and it's their
Oh,
favorite
yeah.
toy. Yeah, so so I was like what if I make the wrong choice, but I'm not sure if we can clean these stuffies and I don't know, I remember I had the hardest time with that. And so, we all four of us stuffed into like two rooms and this was right before Christmas. We had
Mm.
to like we were like throwing away Christmas, like everything was decorated for Christmas. It was like a few days before Christmas. Um, and we ended up, trying to, it was like, God, it was horrible. Making Christmas magical and losing everything at the same time.
Mhm.
It was hard. It was really, really hard. Very, very hard time. But, um, but the alternative was like impossible. We were just like, God, if we could get through this hard time, but at the end of this, there's hope, then, we're going to do it. And I know now that I'm very lucky, not only because like my husband is just generally an amazing father and person, but and hearing other people's stories, I know that that's not always the case, that the husbands are, understanding and willing to accept that this could be something that's impacting everyone in their family. But we didn't have that experience. My husband was like, couldn't get any worse. Like, let's try it.
Well,
So,
I mean, you said the word. It's stress. What's more stressful than watching your child suffer? And then ultimately during a pandemic and then all the other factors and
right.
financial like this. Yeah. And your story isn't unique.
It's not.
We've talked to a lot of people
Yeah,
who have described very similar things. Like that puts it's a different type of stress, honestly, especially when you don't necessarily know where things are coming from and what's the answer and ultimately how to resolve it if there is even an answer.
that's right. And
So
I think it's so interesting because like once you've been through it, you come together. You find a community, but it's like you've already kind of traveled the path alone for some time before you find the kind of field of other people who have been through this and other resources and things. And so like my prayer, my wish is that people would know that this could be a problem before they feel like they're walking the path alone,
yeah.
and having to figure it all out from scratch.
When was the shift from personal struggle to professional calling? At what point did you decide to dig deeper and educate yourself, not only on mold, but just healthy building practices?
Yeah. So it was kind of a natural segue for me because I'm not a person that like that story, that part of our story sucked. It was bad, very bad, many years of
Yeah,
suck.
that's the way I look at it.
Yeah,
It seems like something you would want to put in the back of your memory, not use it as a purpose. with your profession?
Absolutely. The only reason why it became a purpose for me was because my brain works in systems and methodologies and risk analysis, and I refuse to ever be motivated by fear. Like that is some if somebody tries to scare me into something or tell me something that I can tell is trying to elicit a fear response, I have an automatic no to that. I think people are sharing their own stories, but they might not have come to a resolution or a place where they're comfortable or safe yet. And so it is scary. Yeah. And they're sharing that experience. And so then, you get all these variety of opinions, and ultimately you end up hearing people who've given up and they say mold is everywhere. You can't avoid it. And so, just like, why are you even doing all this? Why are you even wasting all this money? Why are you wasting all this energy? And I don't think that I ever would have accepted that even if it weren't for my daughter, but especially for my daughter, I was like, hell no, absolutely not. That is not an option. It is not an option for me to just ignore it. And so I just thought it's my responsibility as a parent to not let that happen again. That's not true. And so I thought I was going to have to invent something because I just didn't know about building science yet, but I was like very quickly found building science and I was like, oh, thank God, I don't have to invent anything. It's already been invented.